page /GBNews Poppy. And I am joined now, very gratefully so, by the wonderful Anne Meadows, who is a councillor at Brighton and Hove City Council. We are here, Anne, at Port Slade Royal British Legion. Why does the British Legion mean so much, do you think? Why does the Poppy appeal mean so much?
It's about raising awareness of how men and women in this country and abroad put their lives on the line for us. They ensure and help us continue with our freedoms, and that's a powerful thing to do. But it's not only the men and women on the front line, it's those families that are left behind that are taking up the slack, and they need support too.
Absolutely, and this is part of what the Royal British Legion does. It can help with housing, it can help with mental health care, it can help for the families that Anne was talking about that. And I think all too often, Anne, from where I'm sitting, it can look a little bit like our brave servicemen and women can often seem like they're back of the queue, unfortunately, in their own country, and that it can be a real problem, and that's something that we're trying to change a bit, I think. Is that the way it comes across to you sometimes?
Sometimes it does. I sit on the Housing Committee and I question those type of things. I feel that the Act that came in November 22, we need to ensure in Brighton Hove that our policies and procedures are up to date, and that they are being actively pursued when helping someone with a homeless situation, housing register.
How easy is it for homeless veterans to get on the housing ladder? I mean, I have spoken numerous times on my show about different councils, not here it must be said, different councils spending millions of pounds on housing stock that ends up going for people who say have just come from Afghanistan or from Ukraine. I'm not saying, of course, those people don't deserve housing, but I am saying that sometimes it feels as though Brits, especially British veterans, might have to jump through a few more hoops.
It can feel like that, particularly with the 5-year part where you need to be local for 5 years. That can go against anyone who's just come out of the armed services. It's about ensuring that there's parity and equity for those people, and they need to speak up. We need to help them speak up and say, we do need help. I realise that's a difficult thing to do, though.
It is, and it must be said as well that a lot of that does come from a deep-seated sense of pride that is drilled into the men and women that are in our armed forces, and I can completely empathise with this idea that you don't want to go and ask for help. It can be very difficult to adjust to Civvy Street. Just again, we've got that fundraiser now. It's justgiving.com/page /GBNews Poppy, and the response to the GB News viewers and listeners here has been absolutely staggering. We've already got to 105,000 now. Pounds, and it is climbing by the minute. I would just want, Anne, one last thing from you, if that's okay. Ahead of Remembrance Sunday, what would you be saying to people who want to show a bit of pride and support for our armed forces at the moment? It can feel as though patriotism at times, I think, can be a bit of a dirty word sometimes.
It can do, particularly in these challenging economic times and challenging situations abroad. They can impact on us locally. I would say your Just Giving page is amazing, 105,000 in 24 hours. Wow. Just keep giving is the thing I would be taking to people.
Absolutely. This is the thing as well. I know that we're all in the middle of a cost of living crisis, and it's as difficult as it's ever been for people. We're paying more tax, I think, per person than we paid at the Second World War, for goodness sake. And yet so many of you have just given whatever you can, whether it's a fiver, like Danny's just chucked in a fiver, or whether it's £200 that people are giving. Cllr's just given £50 seconds ago, and it means the absolute world. Whatever you can give, thank you. And Anne, can I just say a special thank you for you, because I know we kept you waiting for a little while there. So it's Anne Meadows there, a local council here in Brighton and Hove. But look, very, very